Good afternoon, I'm Jared Parry and welcome to A Game of Two Halves. In this episode, we will be looking at stories of the community sports clubs around South Wales. We have stories from the only baseball club flying the Welsh flag in the UK competition, follow the career of a rising snooker star, and our reporter tries his hand at wheelchair rugby league. And later on in the programme, we'll also be joined in the studio by Sean Misra to discuss Wales C versus England C. Firstly, here are this Monday afternoon's headlines. This week's Cheltenham Festival marks one of the biggest weeks in the National Hunt racing calendar. Pembrokeshire's Sean Bowen is second in the race for the leading championship jockey across the season. He will ride the graded winners Not So Sleepy and Fugitive, among others. Sean's brother James and father Peter are also represented at the festival. The duo notably combine on 11-year-old Frankie du Ballet. In darts, Glamorgan Youth sit top of their league with an 11-4 win over Oxfordshire in the Southern Youth Counties Darts Association yesterday. This came as 17-year-old Luke Littler won the first European Tour of 2024 with a 9-darter along the way. In rugby, while Wales didn't enjoy the success as a team against France, there was one starring Welshman from the weekend. 22-year-old Stephen Varney from Carmarthen was on the score sheet in Italy's 31-29 win over Scotland. The scrum half could give his home nation their first wooden spoon in 21 years. 33-year-old lightweight boxer from Merthyr, Gavin Gwynn, suffered a fourth-round knockout defeat to undefeated Mark Chamberlain on Friday night. And finally, Tredegar's Liam Davis competes for a place on the Pro Snooker Tour this week. The teenager competes in the Under-18 and Under-21 European Championships in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Our first story today comes from the university itself. USW's cricket club prepares for their upcoming varsity and buck season. Blake Bint reports.
There's no football happening tonight. Going to be playing some cricket. Yeah, varsities. We've got that coming up in a couple of weeks now. Playing UE for the first time. We haven't had a home varsity for quite a few years now, so it's quite a big event at USW. Looking forward to it. Lots of people available. We played them in the indoor league in the Bucks a while ago and beat them then, but we're going to have a different side, they're going to have a different side, so it should be exciting on the men's front. In terms of the women's front, it's probably the most exciting thing that's happened kind of all year in the cricket. It's the first time women's team has been out in USW, so really exciting going forward. We've got Lucy leading as captain with a good bunch of girls, some of which have just started cricket for the first time but making huge improvements, so it should be really exciting to see how they get on, and going to have big crowds all the way through the afternoon, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's very exciting to go to varsity. Obviously we've never done varsity at USW, especially for a women's team. Yeah, preparation's been long, a lot of learning for a lot of the girls, but everyone's really excited. Joining the cricket team for uni was quite scary at first, because obviously it wasn't a massive amount of girls, but the boys have been so welcoming, and they made me feel really included. It is nice to be able to captain them and coach them at the same time and give them the knowledge I know and help them with their natural abilities. It's quite, to see them progress of where they've started is such an achievement for me.
I've been here for 5 years now, and I just love the club. I've been in the committee, I've done a number of roles, so I've been secretary, social secretary, and now chairman, which I'm absolutely loving. I've made some of the best friends for life.
I left the corporate world after 13 years to pursue a new career in teaching, and yeah, it was a tough decision to make. Well, I'm 33 and 34 next month. I joined a university cricket team as well, so I thought my age would play a factor in it, but actually I found out that a big majority of students are mature students, which is great, so I haven't felt at any point that I'd be uncomfortable with my depth, and also the younger people very much take me on their journey with them.
But I do see this club as a little baby, and just proud of where it's going. And even the things we've done this year, beating Cardiff Met in indoor bucks, was just brilliant, and to sort of oversee what's happening with that, it's just great.
Preparations for the season looking good. On the whole, we've probably got the strongest squad we've had in many years. Competition for places looking really good at the moment. Just going through kind of finalising side. Pre-season's all been sorted, so just hopefully the weather holds out and we can have a full season ahead. But no, really excited by the squad this year. Lots of different options. Haven't settled on a side completely yet, which is kind of testament to the guys. So they're doing really well.
Staying on with stories from within USW, Lewis Sharp is a graduate of the sports journalism course and is now undergoing a change in passion within journalism. Here he is telling us his story.
There is a step up, I think, between the undergrad and the postgrad. I just feel like what's asked of you in an assignment is quite a lot bigger than what it was in undergrad, and I feel like the space in between assignments is shorter as well. So I feel like you have to do a lot of work, and it is very tough. But I'm enjoying it. Definitely tests you a lot more than what the undergrad did, in my opinion. I feel like I always was interested in sort of like music and stuff outside of sports as well. So although like I did really enjoy my sports in the 3 years, I just felt like maybe just doing something else really. So I do a lot with sort of music and stuff like that at the minute, and it's something that I've always been interested in. And I just feel like I definitely potentially will do stuff with sports again in the future, but I feel like with exploring different avenues, this was the perfect step up. So it was we were doing the same TV project as what you're doing now, and I just remember having chats with Julie around the time, and she was sort of saying that, you know, like this is something that you've taken to quite well, and that she the postgraduate masters that she does, that, you know, she thinks I'd be well suited for it. So I just thought that staying in Cardiff for another year and being able to tone in on, I just feel like my strengths are sort of like bilingualism, Welsh language, and the contacts that I have around Cardiff. So through speaking with Julie, she explained what the course was, what would be expected of me, and she thought that it would be sort of the perfect next step for me. The opportunities in Welsh means that potentially I might be twice as employable as somebody who doesn't speak Welsh. So there seems to be a lot of grants and a lot of schemes and a lot of jobs and workplaces who do prefer having bilingualism in Cardiff, and there's a lot of effort going into just growing the language as a whole from the government all the way down, and I feel like a lot of companies do want Welsh language speakers at the minute, so being part of this boom will hopefully mean that I'll be more employable in the future.
Wales's only baseball club, the Cardiff Merlins, return to Pontcanna Fields next month. Blake Bint visited them in their pre-season preparations to find out more about the club's rise.
Down at Ocean Park Arena, Wales's only baseball club are preparing for their season starting next month. After overwhelming success and traction, I wanted to investigate more about their history.
So we started the club in late 2017. A group of us played in the Cardiff Softball League, and an American expat called Ben Kwiatkowski said in the pub one night, you know, wouldn't it be really cool if we had a baseball club in Cardiff? And then a lot of us were like, yeah, that sounds really good. So we started out just as a Facebook Messenger group and got as many guys interested as we could. Played a friendly at the end of the 2017 season where we went over to Bristol and faced quite a strong Bristol team and beat them, and we thought, well, we might have something.
As a club that prides themselves on having a number of new starters, one man born and raised in South Wales boasts 15 years of playing experience to guide them along.
So I got into the game through my grandparents, actually. They emigrated to Canada from South Wales 40 years ago. So we used to have regular family holidays out to Canada. As a result, my grandfather, who was a former rugby referee, international rugby referee, he was big into sports, baseball, sports, he watched a lot. So I'd sit on the couch with him when we were on holidays there, watching the games. He'd explain to me what was going on, and I really fell in love with it. And I sort of found this sport that no one back home knew anything about. It felt kind of, you know, special and unique to me as a kid growing up liking baseball.
I think it's just great that baseball is widely played over the world, much more widely played than most people think. You know, we've had guys from Japan and Korea and China. We've had guys from Central Europe, from Poland, Czech Republic, one of our members is from Germany, obviously guys from North America. It just really goes to show that if you start something and people hear about you, people will come together. Maybe you have nothing in common apart from the fact that you're interested in baseball and you want to play. And it really took off.
After back-to-back titles and national developmental success, Merlin's first team have earned a double promotion to compete at AAA level, just one division below mixing with the best in the UK.
In terms of the sense of the community that this sport and this club brings, it's amazing. We have such a mix of abilities, such a mix of ages, people coming from all over South Wales really, and it really brings everyone together. And of course, we're flying the flag for South Wales, or for Wales as a whole. We started with just one team 5 years ago. We're now up to 2 teams at 2 different levels of the game. The hope would be to grow it even further, have a 3rd team, so that we had teams represented at single A, double A and AAA level, so that there was sort of somewhere for everyone, and a lot of opportunity to grow within the club. You might come in brand new, start at single A, develop, show what you've got, and eventually make it to double A, AAA. And who knows, maybe one day we'll have a National League team as well, and we might see our first Welsh player playing for Team GB someday.
Wales's top domestic players have a chance to represent their country next week. I'm joined now by Sean Misra to get more of an insight. So Sean, obviously as we say, the domestic players are going to get their chance. It's Cymru C versus England C, Stevenage Park next week. Just talk to us about how important these games are for domestic players.
It's a massive chance. It gives players who don't ordinarily get a chance to play international football a Welsh cap or an English cap, and it's something that fans really love to get behind, and it should be a really good atmosphere and a really good game. So
you're saying there with the atmosphere, 2 years ago, Cymru C, England C was at Caernarfon Oval. Loads of fans there, 4-0 victory though as well for Wales. And then obviously last year you had England got the victory in their own turf in Kidderminster. But the atmosphere seems to come out. Is that just a testament to domestic local football?
Absolutely, it shows the interest is there, and there's so much untapped potential in the Cymru Premier and Cymru Leagues in general. So we just need more of these games will really help and hopefully boost attendances across the league.
Obviously in the Cymru Premier we've seen TNS clinch their 16th title only about 2 weeks ago. Only one player though called up from TNS, so in the Cymru C squad. Yeah,
only Danny Davis, and obviously TNS have got a handful of English players, and obviously English players aren't eligible to play for Wales. But no, Danny Davis is having a really good season, but he's got some really good players around him in this Wales C squad. So I was going to say they've also dipped into the Cymru South. There's a Llanelli Town players. Yeah, Ethan Kahn has made the squad. It was fantastic for Llanelli. Obviously 5 points clear at the top of the Cymru South, and he's played a pivotal part in why they're at the top, and it'll be a great experience for him. So just a bit on this fixture though, obviously the domestic game in Wales, it does sometimes get a bit pushed to the side a bit. As you see some teams in the English setup like Swansea, Cardiff, etc. Just how important is it that they stick to the grassroots and pull out players essentially that play and represent our league and their nation essentially? Absolutely, it's a huge deal. We've had some Welsh clubs who've done well in Europe in past years. Remember Barry Town beating Porto, Haverfordwest having a really good run this year. It just shows that Welsh clubs can do it. They just need that support, whether that be from FAW or from external places. But no, I think fixtures like this show how much talent there is in this league and how much fans are interested in it. Absolutely. Well, final one from me. Just a quick prediction on how it goes next week at Stevenage Park. Well, England have got a decent squad, but I think we've got a really strong squad, and I think a 3-1 win for Wales. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sean. Right, moving on. 5 years ago, rising snooker star Liam Davis made his first TV appearance. Blake Bint caught up with him at Scala Snooker Club in Merthyr.
In the sport of snooker, Wales have a rich history. From Terry Griffiths to Mark Williams, 17-year-old Liam Davis is being tipped to be next.
Yeah, it's great to play in the Welsh Open, and I'm very thankful for the opportunities to play in it the last couple of years, because obviously mixing it with the best players in the world, gaining experience at such a young age really, and trying to sort of build everything I can for when I do get my chance to be on the tour, and hopefully I can stay on there. Yeah, exactly. It's very easy for people to say, oh yeah, you should be on the tour, you beat this person and that person, but they forget really that there's people out there as good as me as well, so I don't really get caught up in it or anything like that, because I know full well that there's 50 other people out there like me that are all trying to get on the tour and are all as good as me. So hopefully my day comes and I do get on the tour and then try and build my way up the rankings.
Despite his young age and modesty, Liam already has records for youngest World Championship win at 15 and a TV appearance aged 12. His next aim? Main tour qualification, taking place in Bosnia where he is the #1 seed.
No, I never really set goals and I never really get nervous about anything. Obviously I have aspirations to be world #1 and world champion, but I don't really set seasonal goals or anything like that. I just try and take every tournament and every frame as it comes. And yeah, hopefully the majority of them go my way.
Being from Tredegar, Liam is just a mere walking distance from three-time world champion Mark Williams' very own snooker club, which was visited by Stephen Hendry a few weeks ago.
Playing with Mark Williams every day for about 2 years has just been a massive help to me, just seeing the way he goes about stuff. His aura around the table just sort of rubs off on you sometimes when you practice with him a lot, and yeah, just learning all the shots he plays. He's just so clever and so good, you just can't not learn from him really, so yeah, it's been a great help for me. Yeah, it's surreal, like I said, like I'm 17 years old and obviously you've got Stephen Henry and Mark Williams in the club and I'm literally sat 10 foot from them, and literally 3 years ago I was probably watching them on TV thinking I'll never see them in my life, so it's crazy to be around them sort of people, and yeah, still get a little bit starstruck.
And for our final story today, Blake Bint visited and got involved with the Torvine Tigers to put his wheelchair rugby league skills to the test.
The Torvine Tigers may be one of just 4 teams playing wheelchair rugby league in South Wales, but it doesn't mean they're turning people away at the door.
So wheelchair rugby league is an all-inclusive sport. It means that anyone can play, any age, any gender, any ability or disability. And it's a fantastic sport for that reason. So we have a father and a son playing together. I play with my wife, my nephew plays. It's really a family affair. But it's very much like the stand-up game, just adapted for a wheelchair.
From kids as young as 5 getting involved in the family affair, they're mixing with Wales internationals and those who have played the sport for years.
It's very much a community sport. You know, we all pitch in, we all take part in the tasks that need to be done, we all help each other, and because we have some vulnerable people in our team as well, we all support each other, which is what really gives it a fantastic vibe.
Despite my demonstration showcasing how difficult the sport is, I could sense a real togetherness within the side and a great excuse for anyone to give the sport a go, despite any athletic background. Wheelchair Rugby League is played as a 5-a-side game, with the sport still rising in popularity. The Tigers have had weekends travelling to St Helens and Scotland for matches in past years.
I got into Wheelchair Rugby League purely by accident. So I run a business locally and I sponsored a local event for a wheelchair sports club. They said they were doing a tournament, so we sponsored the trophy, went to present them the trophy, and they offered me to have a go, and I've never looked back.
Just stop the chair. Go on, Lauren. Block it. If you want.
Surrender. People don't understand some of the challenges that people in wheelchairs face. So even just playing a sport in a wheelchair gives you a new outlook on things. So for an example, one day I was taking a wheelchair to my car to take to a match, and the pavement wasn't dipped. And it's something as simple as that, and you think, well, how do I get over this now? How would somebody in a wheelchair get over it?
With the sport growing hugely, the 2023 World Cup was broadcast live on BBC. And in January, the sport even crossed the Atlantic Ocean, exposing the sport for everyone.
The US tour was a fantastic opportunity, and to have...
That's almost all for this episode, but firstly, here's what you can expect to see next time.
The goal that my wife and I set up, along with Josh, to get Andy's Man Club in Merthyr, was to save just that one person. But I firmly believe since this has been set up, we've saved more than one.
You know, there's the old adage in football, there's no friends in football, and it's kind of true that you just lose contact with almost everyone that you've grown up with, and it is really tough.
Thank you for watching, and we also extend our thanks to our guest, Shaw Misra, who came in this week to talk about England C versus Cymru C. But tune in next week on Thursday with more from a game of two halves.